Hey guys, and welcome back to the Midlife Awakening. My name is Adelia and I'm your host. I'm so grateful that you're here. This is a podcast about transformation for women who are waking up to who they really are while navigating everything that comes with midlife. This week we are stepping into Pisces season, the final sign of the zodiac. It's a time of intuition, spirituality, creativity, and deep emotional healing. Now, I love this season because I'm a Pisces, so I feel very much in my element right now. Now, if you're in midlife and feeling like you've been operating in survival mode, living in your masculine energy, constantly thinking, analyzing, and carrying the load, this episode is for you. Today, we're talking about how to reconnect with your intuition, how to tell the difference between ego and inner knowing, why Pisces season can support your healing journey, and how to gently rebalance your feminine energy. Also, I share a personal story about the moment I realized I had been ignoring my intuition and what that taught me. So, if you've been craving more calm, more clarity, and more connection to yourself, stay with me. Let's dive in. Hey guys, and welcome to the Midlife Awakening podcast. My name is Adelia, and I am your host. Now, if you're a regular listener, welcome back. And if you're joining me for the first time, I'm really glad that you found your way here. This week, we are talking about Pisces season, and it starts on February 19th and runs until March 20th. Now, I love Pisces because I am a Pisces, so this is my season. Pisces is all about intuition, spirituality, connection to the divine, healing, and creativity. So these are some of the energies that will be coming up over the next couple of weeks until March 20th. Now, we can use this energy in midlife to try and tap into our intuition more. Many of us women at this stage in our lives have been living from our masculine energy for so long that we may find it difficult to tap into our natural intuition as well as our feminine energy. For a lot of us, we've left toxic relationships or relationships that no longer serve us, and that has left us as single parents having to make all the decisions on a day-to-day basis, not only for ourselves, but for our children and our household. There is no one there alongside us to share the responsibility or the load that we carry. But this is also true for women that are still in healthy relationships. We as women living today, in today's day and age, we carry a load that can only be done by living in our masculine energy. I know that I have definitely done the same thing for most of my life. I started working at the age of 13. Yes, 13, much to my mother's initial dismay. But I already felt the urge at that young age to be independent and to contribute my share. She was a struggling single mother, and being a Pisces, that's all I could think of to do to help her. That is the other watch out for this energy. Pisces is the most compassionate in the zodiac, oftentimes to their detriment. This would also be a great time to focus in on your boundaries, creating them where they are needed, so that if you're feeling more compassionate this month towards others, that you make sure that you don't forget about yourself and deplete all your energy. Also, if you're someone who struggles with boundaries, this is a really great time to lean into that and to try and put them in place, because the unfortunate thing about Pisces is Pisces wants to dissolve. So you could find that your boundaries are less firm, and they might start dissolving. So just be aware of that energy for this month. Okay, so hold your boundaries firm. Back to our intuition. Now, this is something that I have struggled with for a very long time. Despite being a Pisces, I have a Capricorn moon, which keeps me in my head. Now, it's hard to drop into your heart space when you live so much of your life in your logical brain, trying to analyze every scenario. And for most of us that have experienced some kind of trauma, we can find ourselves being hyper vigilant all the time, always looking for potential danger in any situation. Now, I don't mean danger as in I'm about to be attacked, but rather analyzing other people's every move to try and anticipate or analyze their reactions, to pick up on unspoken cues, that kind of thing. Bottom line is, it is extremely difficult to move into that heart space and to listen to your intuition when you are hard-coded to operate from your mind. The first step is starting to notice the difference between your ego, when you're in your head, and your intuition, when you're in your heart. This is harder than it sounds. I know, I've been there. So let me tell you a story of when I first noticed the difference with my own intuition and ego. It was over a year ago. I signed up to do a Reiki level 1 course. Now, I love Reiki, and it has always been so helpful for me in my life to shift stagnant energy. And I might actually do a episode on Reiki in the future. I might try and get an expert on to come and talk about it. But anyway, now I know an amazing practitioner. I'll link her Instagram account in the show notes. Hopefully she doesn't mind. She is so amazing that I decided to do the Reiki level 1 course with her. I have still yet to go back to do my level 2. Anyway, so for the first weekend, I really struggled to get into my intuition. I felt really uncomfortable, and I looked at all the other students and felt a bit out of place, like a bit of a fraud, to be honest. They all seemed to be quite in tune with their feminine energy and could get into their intuition quite easily. At the end of the session, you're advised to do a 21-day meditation cleanse until the next weekend that we had the second session. So I did my cleanse every day, listened to the meditation, and somewhere between the 21 days, I can't remember how long, I had something happen. So it was October half term, which in the UK means basically our children are home for a week from school. And I was super excited because that meant my kids were both off to the same childcare, and I didn't have 2 drop-offs. I only had 1. And that meant that I could have at least 30 minutes to myself at home when I got back before I had to log in for work. But I dropped the kids off, and when I got back home, there was a service vehicle parked in my parking space, so I couldn't park in front of my door. I had to now go and park around the corner. Slightly annoying, but okay, never mind. As I started to walk to the front door and search for my keys in my bag, I realized I don't have the house keys. Immediately my ego, mind, panicked, loud, goes straight to the decision that I must have locked the keys in the house. I try and think back to when I left, and I don't recall having the keys in my hand, so I must have locked them in the house. Can't see the door from this angle. I'm about halfway to the door. A small, calm voice says, "The key is in the door." I disregarded that because I don't remember actually having the keys at all. This is where my logical brain kicked in. So I turn around, having not reached the front door, and I head back to the car. I call my husband at the time, and I tell him I've locked the keys in the house and I need to come and get his set. Jump in the car, and I try and get through the traffic to him, wait for him to come down. He gives me his set. I race back in the traffic again. I arrive home about 10 minutes before I need to log in for work. And as I get to the door, guess what is hanging in the fucking door? My keys. My damn keys. So, moral of the story, had I listened to the calm, quieter voice, which I now know was my intuition, I would have gone to the door to check if the keys were there and found them, let myself in, had my 30 minutes, and logged into work in a calm state. Instead, I chose to listen to my logical brain, my ego, the one that was in panic and loud, and that ended up having me to do a round trip, stressful drive, only to come back and realize it wasn't necessary. So, moral of the story is that we end up in the same place. It's just the journey that's different. You can listen to your intuition and you can have a peaceful journey where you're in flow and you're in state and you're calm and you're happy and you're peaceful. Or you can listen to your ego, act like a frenzied cow, and then end up in the same spot. Okay, so you make the choice. But now, with that experience, I noted what the two sounded like. And now I try listening to the calmer, quieter voice. Even though it is still hard. I mean, this is not something that you're going to be able to do overnight. I'm a lot better than I was then. And I like to think of the ego voice as the character anxiety from the movie Inside Out 2. If you've seen that movie, that's how I picture my ego voice now. I've sort of given it an image. So when I went back to my Reiki training for the second weekend, I had a completely different experience because I was leaning into my intuition. It was such a beautiful, beautiful session compared to the first weekend. Now, when we get to midlife, we're navigating so much. We really do need to remember that we have all the answers within us. We just have to stop and quieten long enough to hear it. It could start as a whisper, but as we focus in on it, it gets louder and louder. When we're trying to find ourselves, our purpose, or figure out what we should do next because we want a career change, that intuition is going to help you. Try tuning into it with smaller things at first. Don't make huge decisions until you are able to tune into it and know the difference between your ego and your intuition. And in this Pisces season, the energy is there to support you to start tuning into that intuition. Some practical ways that you could do this could be meditation. But if you struggle with meditation and quietening your mind, then what you can do, try adding a mantra to it. I mean, I started chanting Om with my meditation, and it really does center me. You could do journaling, but don't just journal and write whatever. I mean, or that could also be helpful to sort of get everything out. But journal, start off your sentences with I feel. So I feel happy because, I feel excited because, I feel worried because. And this is going to teach you how to get back into your heart space and feel those emotions. Try mindfulness so that you can observe your thoughts and start identifying intuition from ego. Give it a try for the next month and see where you are at the end of it. Now, the other thing that I wanted to highlight about this period is that we are now in the last few weeks of winter, if you live in the Northern Hemisphere. If you remember in my episode about New Year's resolutions, I spoke about the new year actually starting with the spring equinox, and that will be when the next season starts and we move into Aries. So this is a great time to check in with where you are on building the roots and foundations of whatever you want to start in the spring as your new year. Is there anything that you've fallen behind with that you want to get back into? It's okay if you have. This is not a race. So if you want to restart that process, this is a good time because we're in the last stretch. Now, Pisces is also the last sign of the zodiac, so this is a good time to close off anything that you don't want to take into the new astrological year with you. Or if you wanted to start working on your healing journey, this is a great time to get started with that. Now, if you've been feeling creative or if you've been working on any creative projects or you would like to, then this is the time to get stuck in. The energy this month will support any creative pursuits, and you may be feeling extra creative now during this time. Lastly, if you want to get in touch with your spiritual side, now is a great time to start a spiritual practice, as I mentioned earlier, like meditation, etc. Or perhaps you want to take it a bit deeper and explore your own spirituality and what that means for you and how you can deepen that over the next month. You can also use this time as an opportunity to get more into your divine feminine energy. Now, for me, if you remember from a previous episode, I had talked about getting back into dancing and reconnecting with my lover. Well, since then, I have started taking salsa classes, and let me tell you that it is my favorite thing to do. I look forward to every class, and I come out of there feeling like a new woman. It's every Wednesday night, and I have also noticed that after every class, something good happens to me. That is because I'm getting into my flow state and letting go, because you are not the leader when you dance. You have to follow. So you have to be in flow state, receiving from the leader. Now, since I've started dance classes, I have noticed when I am not in a receiving state. For example, if someone gives me a compliment, usually I would brush it away. But now I take it in, I fully receive it, and I say thank you. Try noticing when you are not in a state of receiving when you could be. This is how we start to slowly rebalance the masculine and feminine energy within us. Learning to not only ask for help, but to receive it openly when it is offered. That is a big one for us women. And this is also how we become abundant, because if you are in a receiving state, then you are allowing the universe to bless you with abundance. So we need to get into more of that, not just push, 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 go, go, go. Okay, I think that is all I have to say on this topic. I'm going to love you and leave you now, because I'm sure that you've heard enough of the rantings of this mad woman. If you've enjoyed this episode, then you know what to do. Like, share, rate, review, whatever you feel called to do, but do at least one. This is what keeps the show going. I am now also going to shamelessly plug my new community on Substack, because the girl is trying to build a side hustle over here that she is passionate about. So if you like me and what I have to say, then head over to Substack and join my community. You can sign up to the newsletter and you'll be getting loads of content from me, which includes a weekly newsletter, Sunday reflections, a summary of all the experts we have on the podcast in my own wise words with my own takeaways, astrology for the month ahead and other spiritual shit, midlife reflections for the week about anything that I have learned that I want to share, and so much more. There is also a book club where we do a book of the month, and even a chat thread where we get to chat about a couple of things. That is all for free. You heard me, for free. So just head over and sign up now. The link is in the show notes. Okay, guys, I'm out of here. It is late and my perimenopause is finally tired enough for me to go to bed. So until next week, be kind to yourself. Take care of your heart. Bye for now.